Glad you could join us today on File. Welcome to the program. I'm Ayola Kasim. Nobody knows how many species are being lost each year, nor the total number of species that exist. Global biodiversity is being lost much faster than natural extinction due to changes in land use, unsustainable use of natural resources, invasive alien species, climate change, and pollution, among others. The fact is, we have to develop, but at what cost? That cost is what is causing some protestations in Cross River State, where the government is planning to construct a superhighway that will connect Cross River to Benue State. Today on File, our focus is on the happenings within Nigeria's biodiversity hotspot.
So that means when we get to 9, we'll skip 10.
The new Cross River State government has a dream to build a 260-kilometer superhighway beginning from the more than 14 meters Bakassi deep seaport, which will serve as an evacuation route. This will not only link the northern part of Nigeria and the neighboring landlocked countries of Chad and Niger republics, but will equally shorten the distance from Calabar to Gakem, the last Cross River State community, and border town to Benue State by about 82 kilometers. The state government boasts that, when completed, the superhighway will become the first tunnel road in Nigeria with first-class satellite antenna fiber optic cable that would generate unlimited internet access all the way. Equally, it will be the first of its kind designed to be built without hills and valleys, first with speed control cameras and 24-hour ambulance services, first with sub-highways linking all the local government headquarters in the state, and first with motors and filling stations reaching 10 kilometers on both sides of the way.
But in terms of vessels, we have already a sizable number that are capable.
Dr. Eugene Ake heads the Cross River State Infrastructure Company Limited, a special purpose vehicle that will warehouse the state's mega infrastructure development. He believes the state will deliver on the road of its dream that will stand the test of time and constructed in line with global practices.
It's not the normal thing we build with 1 centimeter of inch of asphalt, and one rainy season the road goes just because you don't want to spend money, or just because somebody will write in the newspaper that you spent money. We want to spend money and build a long-lasting edifice, one of its kind in Nigeria, if not outside South Africa and maybe Egypt. It is not, that is why other climes look down on Africans. We tend to believe that things should be cheap. Things cannot continue to be cheap. By the time the federal government goes to Maiduguri, goes to Sokoto, goes to Bayelsa, goes to Katsina, Taraba, and comes back to Cross River, 30, 40 years have passed. And at that time, you have no road. So it is just proper, and not only Cross River, most state governments in the country, including federal, have realized that you cannot build an enduring infrastructure without giving it to the private sector as an investor to build. That is all we are doing.
The 260-kilometer superhighway is set to be a public-private partnership arrangement scheduled to be completed within 4 to 5 years. On the 21st of October 2015, President Muhammadu Buhari performed the groundbreaking ceremony. Few days after this ceremony, many raised concern over the route of the superhighway and requested its environmental and social impact. The non-governmental organization community was so outraged by the threat of the superhighway to the national park and to the forest communities that they got together to write a letter to the governor and the president. On the 22nd of January 2016, in the Weekend Chronicle, the state government announced that a 10-kilometer setback of land will be compulsorily acquired by the government in what was termed the overriding public interest along the entire 260-kilometer right-of-way from Bakassi to Katsina Ala. Affected communities wrote the government appealing for reconsideration. The Ekuri people sent their position on the government's plan on the 7th of February 2016, saying the exclusion of government forest reserves and public institutions as published in the revocations notice without settlements being also excluded means that we will become strangers on our ancestral land. This revocation is against the focus and programs of the United Nations Framework Convention on Climate Change and the United Nations RED program, for which Cross River State is a pilot state to set an example in Nigeria. The Okokori community protest letter followed on the 13th of February. Therein, the community's Traditional Rulers Council argued that the rich biodiversity of their community forest contiguous with the Ekuri Community Forest and the Cross River National Park contributes to the forest in Cross River State. Being named one of the biological hotspots in the world will be lost forever, and this legacy is about to be ruined. They acclaimed recognition of Cross River State as harboring 50% of the remaining forest in Nigeria will crash awfully. And on the 7th of March, the Rulers' Council of Ikoesai village sent their opposition, saying they do not want to be tenants in the forest which they inherited from their ancestors. The community's leaders say they are yet to hear from the government.